that's what it happens.
That's what world over it's happening.
So anyway, nice to have meet after a long time, and I think we can go through the. See, we are in the penultimate, the third kanda. We are have come to the end of third kanda. We have got, I think, two mantras to be dealt with. After that, we will be going into the fourth kanda, the last kanda. So then we will just just give a brief and go about it. And I think this and the next one, this is the penultimate. Next one will be the final. The week after next, we will give the essence of entire Mandukyopanishad, taking all the four kandas. So the thread of thought, is being taken, and as well as we will also see what is the takeaway from this Upanishad for all of us. And it's going to be one of the a fine session, where we will be summarizing the entire thing. With this, I think since all of us have already assembled, I think with your thing, I think we'll commence the proceedings. Om Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Sthititolayan Niyadi Prataya Jnana-prataya Vibhuda-sura Saukya-dukka Satkaranaya Vidataya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparitam Atiprabhudan Vadan Nirasya Kritavan Bhuvitattvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Anandatirtha Munivaryam Namami Pujjaya Rahavendraya Satya Dharmarataya Cha Pajatam Kalpavrakshaya Namatam Kamadenave Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi Tejasvinavatitamastu ma Vishvidavahaihi Om Shanti 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 Mandukyopanishadaga Shanti Pataham Om Badram Karne Vishruniyama Devaha Badram Pashyema Javidyatatraha Sthirairangai Stushtuang Sastanubihim Vyashema Devahitam Yatayuhu Swastina Indro Vrudrashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Ksharyo Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Datatum Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome, friends. As we have been, last few weeks, we are having some functions or other. Some occasions have arisen. This week was also, we were in one of the wonderful occasions. We had three functions, which followed in the month of Magha, which is also a very holy month. This month and next month, Palguni, which is supposed to be the holy months in which a lot of marriages of the divine marriages takes place, and a lot of functions are also there. The last we had the Ratha Saptami. Saptami was Ratha Saptami. Ratha Saptami is, we had Vasanta Panchami. It started with Vasanta Panchami. Vasanta Panchami, when it is the autumn has just begun, because before the summer comes, the autumn has come. It is one of the season of spring. It brings in a lot of flowering and other things. That is the season. Again, Vasant Panchami is celebrated with the entire hue of yellow in North India. Those who have been in North India, you can see in yellow is the primal color, during this season. As well as Vasant Panchami marks the Saraswati Puja in very many places, particularly in West Bengal. West Bengal and UP and all, it is celebrated as the Saraswati Puja. On that day is supposed to have been the most auspicious for Saraswati. Then followed by the Sashti. This Sashti was also very famous, in South Indian temples and all. In this time, it was also a very famous occasion. And followed by the Ratha Saptami. Ratha Saptami is an occasion. It has got two significance. One is the sun is in the resplendent best. After the Makara Shankramana, he comes in his full resplendent best, with his 7 horses coming together. And it is also on the day, because the Bhishma, he had a sort of a boon of Ichha Mrityu. He can leave the body as and when he wants. But he couldn't leave the body for one particular, the thought that was just ringing in his mind. It was not going out. His So his silence, his deafening silence when Draupadi Vastaharanam was taking place. That was, of course, it is happened, all by virtue of the circumstances. He couldn't, prevent that and all. That was considered to be some sort of a deficiency by himself, though not a black mark, deficiency by himself. And that is why he couldn't exercise his Ichha Mrityu. So at that point of time, when he was wondering what to do, because his mind was always being transparent to Lord Krishna as well as Krishna Dvaipayana, Vyasa. So then Vyasa advised him not to worry about it, because for that also, for everything, there is a way, you can find a way out in Sanatana Dharma. That is the greatness of the Dharma. You can be, see, the Sanatana Dharma has got two things. You've got to lead a perfect life. At the same time, every sinner has a future, and it is also recognized every saint has a past. So therefore, there is always a redemption possible in any circumstances. That is the greatness of Sanatana Dharma. So then Vyasa advised Bhishma, there is, because he was on the bed of arrows, he can't do anything. What that he can do only thing. Then he said, and the Argya, because Argya Patra, what we call Erika, it is called Argya Patra. It is called Argya in the sense, normally we give Argya for any of the penance. We give it to Argya every day to sun during our Sandhya Vandanam. Likewise, that Argya Patra, you just have a sort of, because with so many Argya Patra of 7 leaves of 7 Patras, you just have it, wear it and, give your meditation, that will take away this one and all. That is why on that day, in all of us have this Argya Patra on our shoulders, and, we take bath, so that any of the sins, knowingly, unknowingly committed by us during this birth, as well as in the earlier birth, they all go off. So nothing comes in the way of your redemption. That is one of the things that takes place on Ratha Saptami day, apart from all other functions that is being performed, invoking the sun god. And after doing that only, on the Bhishmashtami day, he was able to leave this body. This is exactly that time he could leave the body. Just before leaving the body only, he has recited that great Vishnu Sahasranam. See, great Vishnu Anusashana Parva, when Yudhishthira was, in delusion, he was not knowing as to what to do, because by having this entire kingdom and wealth and all, it is nothing to be enjoyed. He has lost all his relatives, he has lost all his preceptors. What is there for them to do, because then he was told, it is not that he should not give up his responsibility of looking after the kingdom. He has been, we have recited earlier narrated, what are all the Raj Dharma he has been told. He is Dandaniti, everything was doing. It is a sort of a greatest exposition of how an administration should be done, because the Bhishma himself has looked after the entire kingdom as a regent. When these Pandu and Dhritarashtra could not take over the power, he has looked after, and he has looked after the entire dynasty. So in fact, that is why Krishna and Vyasa, Krishna Dvaipayana, they made Yudhishthira to approach and get this knowledge. Without that, it will be lost to the entire humanity. That has been given at that point of time when Yudhishthira asked him, Keno Payanagla Kimbapekam Parayanam. What is that? Finally, for what is the Dharma, one should know. What is that, one has to get it. Then Vishnu Sahasranama was recited. We have also had a separate, that exposition on Vishnu Sahasranamam, how great it is and all. So therefore, yesterday, I think, the Bhishmashtami day, a lot of Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam has taken place because it was given by Bhishma to the entire mankind. We had it, and followed by the day is the Madhvanavami, the day in which the Madhvacharya, I think he took it was his third visit to Badrikashrama. But he has gone to Badrikashrama. What they say is present Badrikashrama is not exactly the Badrikashrama. There is one still far away. Where, because you will have to go. Badri is the Badram Karnebi, when we say Badram is the most auspicious, where the divine presence is there. That is Badram. Badrinath in the sense where the Nara and Narayana, the highest, the auspicious form of the God, where ever present was called Badri. That is how Badri has got the importance. That Badri is something little away from there. There, I think Krishna Dvaipayana is still supposed to be in meditation. So then Madhvacharya, who went there with his Sishyas, his favorite Upanishad was Aitreya Upanishad. He was teaching the Aitreya Upanishad. Finally, he gave all the Bhashyas and he was reciting the Aitreya Upanishad, and the exposition when he was given, he has asked the Sishyas to be there. And he told them, look, because now you will have to look after everything. I have given all the knowledge. Now I have got to, because he said no one to follow. So he went there is a Vyasa Guha. The Vyasa Guha is still further, and he went inside and he didn't come. And the ideology is, the Aidika is still there with Vyasa. In discussions of all the Brahma Sutram and all, is still supposed to be there. That's no Brindavanam for him. It is the day in which he has just left the world, leaving it to the Sishyas and been with the Vyasa. This is supposed to be the Madhvanavami that is being celebrated. So we had a series of occasions that has come in this week. So this is most auspicious week. So therefore, I think it's going to be a lot of other functions are also going to be in the month of Magha. You've got a lot of functions that are going to be taking place. And next month, Palguni is also very favorite. In Panguni, Uttram is there, and a lot of divine marriages takes place. That is supposed to be the most auspicious months. In Uttarayana, things come. In Uttarayana, once the Magara Shankramanam takes place, the most auspicious functions takes place during this period because it is called the Deva Kala. So the entire Uttarayana is supposed to be where Devas supposed to be having the daytime, and they are doing it. Dakshinayana is the night for the Devas. That is where the things takes place differently in that. So with this brief, and we will come into this Mandukyopanishad. We have come into the very third chapter. Just to give a brief, first we saw what is the greatness of the Jagrata Sthana. Hello, are you able to hear? Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Jagrata Sthana, Swapna Sthana, and Sushupta Sthana, all the three, deep sleep state. We have seen everything and all. And the second chapter was only on Turiya stage. Because the Turiya is, you are not coming back to your consciousness again and again. You are going beyond the consciousness. That is what, with the body, mind, and intellect, you will not be able to reach the stage called Turiya. You will have to cross the Laya from the Sushupta Sthana. Since Sushupta is something which is a cycle. From there, Sushupta Sthana, again you come to Jagrata Sthana, then you come to the Swapna Sthana, and then you come to Sushupta Sthana again and again. When every time you come into the cycle, there is no hiatus of knowledge. The consciousness continued to be there with you. You are there continuously in that, but only thing is in Jagrata Sthana, you are having the bodily gross experience. That is what the gross experience we say, the gross body, Sthula book, we call it. And when you come into the Swapna Sthana, we call Pravikta book. Pravikta book in the sense subtle, latent impressions of the mind. The God lightens up your latent impressions of the mind by which you are able to get experience. All the great thoughts come based on what you have fulfilled, what you have formulated in your mind. Depending upon your ability to get the highest noble thoughts, you go into this world. That's how in the Swapnasthana you get lot of great schemes that come about. Even Thomas Alva Edison, when he did most of the things, he got it in the dream. The impossible things he tried to attempt, because based on his dream, he was considered to be a madman, because he tried so many experiments, but of course succeeded because he was steadfast on that and he got all his ideas. We also narrated how Ramanujan and other Einstein, and they also got it in their Swapnasthana, because that is a latent impressions. You don't have any bodily gross experience. That is called mental state, the gross body state, the mental state, and then come to the astral state. Astral state is Sushupta Sthana, where you don't have, only you have got the cause, but you are nobody, you are just like anybody else. You don't have any attachment whatsoever. You are just into the custody of the Almighty. You are able to get the best of thoughts. At the same time, you are only in the consciousness. You realize only when you come back from sleep. Till such time you are in sleep, you know you are having a good sleep and you are not aware of anything else, nothing of this world. That is why that is the most wonderful state. There you do not have any sort of unwanted desires, unwanted ambitions, unfulfilled dreams. The unwanted ambitions, unfulfilled dreams which comes in the waking from dream state, they are all dormant in the Sushuptasthana, but again they come back. Once you come to the waking state again next morning, the unfulfilled dreams and the unwanted sort of aspirations, unfulfilled aspirations, ambitions, desires, they come. Till such time you are going through this, you are slowly able to reform yourself, refine yourself. The unfulfilled ambition and aspirations come down. What you had unfulfilled ambition when you were 20 will not be there when you are 60 or 70 because you have seen everything. Nothing more than that. Now you know you have seen everything. It doesn't have any meaning for you. But whereas for youngsters, they have got a meaning. They have got to go through the entire world. They have to see, because they have to evolve. They have to get the entire sort of wisdom of the world and get into. For them, it is there. See, that is how, once you mature, once you refine, once you reform, you get into a stage. Slowly, the unfulfilled ambitions, unfulfilled desires, everything goes off. See, that's why when we say we should not have, once you say when you have got lesser ambition, lesser these things and all, your mind is focusing on to the greater goals beyond, because what you have been thinking all this while and all, you are gone to the greater things. So when the greater things comes, your mind is focused not only that, you become someone who could be a guide to so many people. That is what we said. When you do the upasana of all the three, ma, the third kanda, the first kanda talked about all the three states. The second kanda talked about turiya, and the state, which is the highest stage, where you don't have any bodily interaction. You are getting into the laya center where you are almost equal. You don't have any desires to be fulfilled. You don't have any unfulfilled ambitions or desires. That is the state you are able to be in line with the Paramatma. See, that is the Laya center. You get into the astral state. In the astral state, you are someone beyond everything. You become something of a jnani. You become something of a rishi. You something of a sage. Once you come into that, there is no question of your coming back to these three states again and all. Because till such time you are in Sushuptasthana, you will be coming into the cycle of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Once you get into that the Turiya stage where you don't have any ambitions, you just live with the detached attachment. Things are there, but you don't have any attachment. You just take it as it is there. See, you've got a computer, you are not attached to the computer. As long as it is useful, you are able to interact, you use it, and then you leave it at that. It is not that, because you are so attached to the computer, without that life will not be okay for you. So it is like that. Any instrument is used. Supposing even if you are in a desert where you don't have any facility, you will not be having any anxiety whatsoever. You will be living with the same alignment of attitude and you will be having the same fulfillment what you are having. To have that state is Turiya. For us, without so many things, our life will not be okay. Without a mobile, without this, without that, I'm not able to live. When I can live without anything, when I don't have anything, I don't have to be looking for. I am still can be in the same state of mind where I am. So that is the state where we are having it. So therefore, in the third kanda, when they there, it is not only that even when you are reforming and recycling yourself, in the waking state, when you do the upasana, when you slowly eliminate your unwanted, your desires and unfulfilled ambitions and all, you reach a stage, you become someone who can afford to give the desires of so many other people. So like, you become such a state, because you become a head of a state. Head of a state, he has got a great thing to do. Head of an organization, he has got a great thing to do. He has got a responsibility to do. Whether he is doing or not is up to him. But when you do your upasana in the sense when you are having that concentration, a CEO will have a wider sort of a view of the entire. His width of the view will be wider, far wider than a manager. Because he will be seeing across the corporate, he will be seeing the across the industry, he will be seeing the across the perspective of the so many people who are associated with him. Unless he is such a person, he can't be a leader worth the name. When a person is there, his perspective will have to be far too different. He will not be confined. He can't have a shrinked mind. He can't be, he can't have a clannish ideas. He can't have groups. He can't have, because most of the people fail when they get into the stage because they don't have that perspective. A perspective, a leader like, because why some leaders are being, there are so many presidents in India, United States. Why Abraham Lincoln is only being sort of remembered? Why, Franklin Roosevelt is remembered? Only few people are being remembered. There are about, I think, 50, 60 presidents are there. Likewise, everywhere, the leaders are there, only few are remembered. So they have gone beyond that. That is why when you do it, refinement and all it is there. And when you come into the Swapnasthana, it is one more higher stage, where the latent impressions are there. Then you are able to get the people to act based on what your ideas. In fact, even some bad leaders had that capacity. Leaders who are considered to be bad, hindsight, they also had the capacity. For instance, Hitler was such a powerful speaker. He could move the entire nation because he knew what was that, the psychology of the nation which was suffering from. Because the German was subdued during the World War I, they were made to feel they are not a nation worth the name. They were subjugated. They were asked to pay so much of penalty, because they didn't have the economy of their own. They were dependent on every other nation in Europe and US for their survival. That gave them the self-respect, because we are such a powerful nation. And of course, they had all the best talents, be it psychology, philosophy, or the scientific community. In fact, most of the United States establishment, be it NASA or other things, they've all been established by the erstwhile German scientists. Without German scientists, the United States, the scientific industry would not have thrived. Post the Second World War. So they had that power. So with such a capacity, when their self-respect was affected, he just kindled the self-respect and brought them. Finally, he made into a nation, but of course, his direction was little. It was not I think, in consonance with the entire the goal the world would like to have. That's why he had gone at all. So likewise, when you are committed to your cause, you will be able to do. Like Mahatma Gandhi, the ahimsa, what he talked about, no nation or no leader ever would have tried to attempt that, with the human mind, as we know now how it is reacting and all. Despite that, he has succeeded with his perseverance, his commitment, whether he is right or wrong and all, he stood by that. See, that is the commitment we have. That commitment only comes through the latent impressions of your mind and where you stand steadfast. So that all the three states, when it comes, that is where we said, we become so much, we have got two great qualities. First, we said Apta Samanvaya and Adi Samanvaya in the waking state. They become someone who is capable of giving everyone what he desires as well as fulfilling the ambitions, not only for them, and you are also able to bring so many people up to the level of their thinking. And then you come to Swapnasthana, Utkarshata, then you are able to influence the people by your suggestive talks, hypnotizing. It is like hypnotism. Whatever you talk, you are able to suggest, it gets into the other person's mind. That is the power you get it. Not only that, there you also bring in the people to be conscious of what they have to be in their life, because these are all the great leadership qualities that comes about by doing this. That's how all the sages and rishis, when they have written this Upanishad and all, they have all done this upasana and they gone to still higher level of Turiya, when they have given nothing is, not even a dot you can change in the Upanishad. Not a word can be changed. It is the perfect wording, perfect sentences, and the perfect verses that conveys what it should convey without any bias, without any coloring, without any contamination. That is the greatness. Because all the religions, whenever they say, finally, when they have to come to know the truth, some religions take some part of the truth, but all the religions are attempting to glorify some part of the truth. So, but the whole truth is the one, which every individual has to attempt to find themselves. That is what the Upanishad says. It gives various truths. But then it is for the individual, each one of us, to find our own truth in our own circumstances. Truth varies the way to know and how to realize that. What I am telling the truth need not necessarily be truth unless you have experienced it or you have had any occasion to be experienced by someone else. That is why the Upanishad says at the individual level, whatever you have to change, whatever you have to become, you become that. That is why these upasanas are being taken in the third kanda. We have come into the Avu and Ma Upasana. We have also seen Ma Upasana. Utkarshata, Ubhayatvata, we saw it. And we said the Manasamanya and Layasamanya in the third one, the Makara. When we did, what is the Manasamanya? When you get into that stage, you are able to get into the psyche of other persons and activate his psyche. Because you don't have anything to gain for. You don't have anything to look for. Because there you have got this, because you want to do it so that so many people can be taken to the highest level. So if that happens, what happens? Such a nation, when you have got so many people, how we had so many rishis and all. With so many rishis, with so many people, they are giving it, and we are able to take this knowledge. This country will be full of bliss, because your direction will be unassailable, invincible, because you don't have anything to look for. No one has, when people don't have personal things to look for, they are working for a common goal, no country can be defeated. In fact, Israel being a small country, still they are able to hold as a nation amongst all the adversaries around them in the Middle East and as well, because that nation has got that particular, because common goal is there. The individuality dissolves into the national perspective of every person. So that is exactly, once you have that, that becomes the nation. Otherwise, we are only a crowd. We will be a crowd of 100 billion people if we don't have that perspective. We have to have the perspective where we are able to give up our individual ambitions and ideas. And once you have reached a level, you will have to go for a higher ambition in this, whatever small circles you are in, whatever way you are able to contribute. That is the spiraling effect, which will finally take the nation to the highest level. That is what exactly the Upanishad says. This Upanishad is not a parchment, or only individual development. It is a development of the society. It is a development of the whole universe. So once the whole universe is like that, and because that is what, finally you will do, because you will be living in consonance, you will be living in sync with the nature. You will not have all these pandemics coming about. So all those things are being brought about at the individual level. It has to come, and from it will have to reform and blossom into the national level and the universal level. This is what, this third kanda, this upasana, when it says, it means the fourth kanda is the one finally it takes, or what is the effect of this sadhana? How finally this sadhana culminates into the benefit to everyone. So we are on to the Karika verse 8, which is in the page number 54 of your document. In the Karika verse says, in the Avuma Upasana, when we said, this mantra says, Trishu Damasu Yatulyam Samanyam Veti Nishchitam. Once we know by doing this Upasana, Trishu Damasu, Dhamma they call it highest, noble and sacred place of pilgrimage. This waking, dreaming and deep sleep, they are the places of pilgrimage for us, our own development. Trishu Damasu Yatulyam. When you just take it into, when you weigh in with your experience all through your life, Samanyam, Yatulyam Samanyam Veti Nishchitam. You will get the definite knowledge. Finally, what you get with this will be the highest knowledge ever you would be looking for. Veti Nishchitam. You will definitely get it. There is no failure. Because we have said, when the Tejasa, when we said, when you are doing the Upasana, no one in your lineage will be without the highest knowledge. Because once you do the Upasana, the entire lineage, people who are coming in succession, They will be having the entire knowledge, which is required, because that is the greatest boon. To get the knowledge is you have to get the divine grace. When we say Maya, Maya is the one when it has to be removed, it is only by the divine grace. In the Brahma Sutra Bhashyam also, Shankaracharya says, but Maya has got a different meaning. Maya is Maya Pradishta, Maya Udishtatam. Because even the God, he gives the, whenever he gives the ignorance, it is given by God. To remove the ignorance also, he has to give the grace. What is the ignorance? Ignorance is to see and feel that I am this body and I am this mind. It is me and mine. That is the ignorance. That ignorance will have to go only by his grace. Till such time his grace doesn't come, the ignorance will be there. Then why does he give this ignorance? The question comes. Why at all God should give the ignorance? Because he wants to show that he can remove it. He wants to show our master. It is not like that. It is because we have got our prarabdha karmas. We have got everything and all. He is only helping us, to fulfill our own prarabdha karmas, live in this world. When you are doing that, your bank account you only can clear. You can draw overdraft from only your account. You can't draw overdraft from someone's account. Your debit and credit will be in your account only. God doesn't take away. He is trying to enable you to get as much credit as possible. But by your own action, but why you should have an action? Why should God, because this is the question fundamentally comes. If God is so good, why you should make someone to act like this? Because he doesn't act. He gives you everything and all. The free will, what you are considering as a free will, is conditioned by your environment, your thoughts, and your vasanas. The vasanas are coming from the previous birth. See, if someone is doing something, because which is not, I think, which is not in line with the law, his parents might not have given, they might not, every parent want to be their children to be too good, too knowledgeable. But it is his vasanas, you can't help it, and he has to undergo. But he has also got a way to come out. Once he knows that he has gone onto the wrong path, once he set right, his course of action, he gets it. But whatever upasana he does, it doesn't go waste. It comes to him. It carries to him. Not only in this birth, but the next birth also. That is why Trishu Damasu Yatulyam Samanyam Veti Nishchitam. Once you know in all these three states, you are going to reform, refine, and you have got the possibility of attaining the highest noble status. Even that knowledge itself is good enough to take you out. You do Upasana next. The very moment you realize in your heart of hearts, yes, this knowledge itself will take me good. This is the biggest gift the rishis have given here in the Mandukyopanishad. And not only that, what they say, Sa Pujyaha, he becomes most worshipful. He becomes a stage. Sarva Bhavanam, Sarva, by all those who are with us, all the Bhavas, all the Jivas, even the insentient and sentient, they all consider him, he becomes worshipful. Vandyamschaiva Mahamunihi, he becomes someone, a great Muni, Rishi. Like Mahaparivar, what you have seen, how, because even people who don't know, who have not interacted with him, even they have got, some sort of a distance vibrations from him to ward off, they have come out of some, because obstacles and unwanted situations and all. How come, how it happens, how the vibration comes, the cosmic vibration that comes across? Because this is where, what is the cosmic vibration? Cosmic vibration, nothing but Akasha. When we say, it is the Akasha where the entire divinity is spread out. Finally, what happens, this human being? How we are being called? Akashat Patitam Toyam. Finally, when the entire human beings are born, and we will be seeing in another Upanishad called Aitreya and Taittiriya Upanishad, how human beings are born. So when the entire, the Parjanya, that is the clouds are there in Akasha, and all these souls, because once it is there, they are hovering around, because they're dormant. But based on their vasanas, their prarabdha karmas, they will have to come into the world. How they come? They come in the form of droplets of the rain from the cloud. They come into the earth. Once they come into the earth, they come through the crops, the dhan. Dana, it comes. When the dana is eaten by the being, he gets into this body, and finally the productive power comes into this body, and finally the jiva comes into this. Akashat patitam toyam yata gacchati saharam. Like, like droplets, how it goes into the ocean. Likewise, we have all come. Finally, where we go? Sarvadeva Namaskaraha, Sagaram Pratigachati or Kesavam Pratigachati. You can say depending upon the philosophy you are in. Finally, you go back. It is like that. See, the Aitreya Upanishad says it is like that. In the rebirth, the rebirth has been scientifically explained and it has been proven scientifically also. That is how, it takes place, because entire cosmic vibration, they say, you are able to imagine what is there in some of the other spaces by our scientists, not only based on the data, more by intuition. Data alone can't help you. So the imagination or intuition that comes the highest, because they are thinking about what is it and all. That's how we are able to send to Mars and Moon. Otherwise, we could not have. It is only by scientific data we can't do that. And by imagining and with the intuition, with the proper scientific proof and validity on that, they are able to do. But the first thing is intuition. Only based on the logic, nothing can happen. Logic doesn't have any magic. It is the intuition which is the part of entire thing. Why the Western philosophy and the Eastern philosophy we differ is, Western philosophy is based on full logic. The logic is only on the waking state alone. The logic is you will try to find a reason for everything only in your waking state. In the dream state and deep sleep state, you don't find any logic. You don't have any logic what you are going to do. But without logic for everything, you look for a proof. And you will be calling yourself rationalist. Without rational analysis, I will not be able to take anything and all. Why this rational analysis? Because rational analysis, you want to find a reason for everything. But there are so many things, where there is, you will not be able to find the reason. When the reason fails, what you expect, when the logic fails, the faith begins. You did everything. You thought, you are in the command. But when it doesn't happen, the faith begins. So that is how, because when the entire 7th century, because this concept was being propagated, logic and other things. When Shankaracharya came, he brought the text, appropriate text from Upanishad and highlighted it to say it is not the logic alone will work. It is not only the waking state. The waking state, dreaming state and deep sleep state, all the three states together, you will have to see the human evolution. That is how human evolves, refines, reforms, and he becomes something of a great. What they say is Sappujaha Sarva Bhavanam Vandaschaiva Mahamuni. Vandaschaiva. He becomes something worshipful. Mahamuni. This is what this says. Because these three states have got such a great value, it takes you to the highest level. This is coming to, they think this is this with this mantra, I think more or less we have come to this particular third kanda. Only one more mantra is there. We will be taking it as the final mantra for this third kanda. Then we will be in fourth kanda. The last mantra of third kanda, this is the Gaudapada Karika. Akashe nayate vishvam akashe nayate vishvam ukaraha acha ucha api akare nayate vishvam ukaschapi tejasam makarascha punapragyam namatre vityate agatihi. See, because it simply says, what we have seen and all, the akashe nayate vishvaha, Vaishvanaraha, when you are in the waking state, when you are being given everything, the entire, your ability to get the best out of this waking state of this world, Vaishvanaraha, that state, it is again consciousness or the God, whatever you call it. It is the Amsa of God. He gives you that. He enables you to do everything based on your capacity, your yogyata. So there is no separate. Whatever each person is entitled to as the plan that is available, he has been given that. Akashe naiti vishwam ukaschapi. U is represented by Tejasa, Swapnasthana. Ukaschapi Tejasam. There also he gives whatever you are capable of. Swaswa yogyata as per your capacity to absorb. A senior most scientist in NASA will be able to get the knowledge what he desires. A local technician will be able to get the knowledge as per what he can take. That is being getting, because it is based on what you can take and what is your eligibility entitlement to get. Makaraschabi punah pragyam. Once you get into that makaraschabi, once you get into punaha, once you are into the custody of the Lord, you get whatever you deserve, where you can reform yourself, where by coming into this prajna stage, when you go back into the waking stage, you become a fine person, you become another version of yourself. Every time from deep sleep, when you go into that, you become a new version. You go on evolving. We are evolving without knowing ourselves. We have been evolving right from our childhood. That is how, if you just go back and see what your thoughts were, what your ideas were 10 years before, 20 years before, 30 years before, how it has changed. Because you have evolved, you have reformed, you have seen. Now you have come to that stage. Now you have got the grace of the Mandukyopanishad to take you to further higher level. This is what is Punah Pragyam Namatre Vidyate Agati. See, Namatre Vidyate Agati, this is one thing. Amatra, na amatra. Amatra is the stage which is called Turiya. A, U, Ma, they are all called Padamatra. We said Padamatra, we call it. They are all matras. They are all one steps. Amatra is, doesn't have any step because you don't come back into the waking stage, dreaming stage, or deep sleep state once you get into Turiya. Turiya is stage Amatra. Amatra is a stage, you can call it the absolute silence. The silence, which is the most somnolent, most sacred silence, in which you finally fully into rhythm with the Almighty, Paramatma, that is called. And it has also got another one, it's also called Nada. Nada is the highest version in which it is non-vibrational sort of a sound. It emanates from your nabi when it comes. It has got four components: Nada, Bindu, Shanta, Adishanta. All the four, when it comes, it finally reaches the highest level, because when your Nada is there, when you are doing, it is like your Kundalini, it comes from your nabi, goes through your chakras, all the chakras, and all the 7 chakras finally going, it reaches the Sahasrara, where you get finally the Kundalini. Through the Sahasrara only the life force comes into the body, and finally it leaves through the Sahasrara. The Sahasrara is 12 inch above our skull, on the middle of the skull. Ashtadisya Dashangulam. This is what, because Purusha Suktam says, Sahasra Zirisha Purusha Sahasra Sahasrabad Sabuvim Visvato Vritva Atyadishta Dasangulam. Atyadishta Dasangulam, this is Ashtadisya Dasangulam, another means around 12 inches all around our body. 12 inches is 12 our finger lengths. Around our body we have got the aura. Because aura displays whatever your thought of a highest noble thought, it infects other person. You can see someone attracts you, he is a great person. If I go near him or if I talk to him, I will get something. You go to him. And a person who is always scheming and who is always do that, it repulses you. That is, aura is there. Your thoughts are coming through the aura. And depending upon your frequency, either you are getting attracted or repulsed between the aura of the person whom you would like to interact, whom you may not be interacting. This is the greatest thing, because all human beings, we have all experienced at some point of time. Why we are getting attracted to some people? See, when someone talks, someone gives a lecture, we all go to him because we know, he will give the right one, what is that. Whereas, someone, who is only trying to manipulate you, who is trying to use it for your purpose, you will not be doing it. Even in our interaction, we may not be doing it. So this is exactly what this says. And it also says the amatra, the stage, which is the sacred silence, which is the nada. And how to attain that with the body, mind and intellect? Will we be able to do that? That question arises. Because we have come to these 3 stages. They are all the grass and mental and astral state. crossing the Laya center, you are going into the highest state. Is it possible? This mantra gives the hope. Namatra vidyate agatihi. It is not approachable. It is not unapproachable. It is approachable. You will be able to get through. When you will be able to get through, what will you will have avidya removed. That is, me and mine would have gone. When me and mine would have gone, nothing, that will not be there, and you will always be in the mode of happiness. So when you are in the mode of happiness, what happens is, it is not that you are only in the blissful state. Others who come across to you, their sorrows are destroyed. If you go, because in front of Mahaparival or Shirdi Sai Baba, when you go there, or even the Tirumala Tirupati, you go there, that 1 minute, when you are seeing just half a second, even before they said Jaragandi, in that moment, you just lose yourself. You are absolutely lose yourself. That is the surrender. The surrender is when you lose yourself and give it to him to be manipulated, because this is what the last sloka of Gita says. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam vraja. Because when you come, you give it up everything and come back, I will take care of you. So that is the surrender. That surrender is the absolute surrender. It leads us to that absolute surrender stage. That is exactly Turiya. And it also says it is not, that you can't say, no, it's not possible. Like, 10 years, 15 years before, we would have said Upanishad, it's all beyond my head. I can't, even. Now I am reading it and I am also talking it. And because though I know a little bit, I know what are all the great Vidya, Brahma Vidya. It's not easy to master and talk about. And likewise, because we would have thought like that, now we are able to come into, that is the grace. That is exactly the grace. Till such time we had avidya. Vidya, it will go over our head. That is avidya. Now God has given us the grace to come here and take it. Now He has given us the grace. The Maya has been removed. The Maya is, though it is there, the veil has been removed. We have come into this. His grace has come. This is exactly it. And we will just recite the first mantra of fourth kanda, and we will see it next week. Next week, we will be covering the fourth kanda. Week after that, we will be having the essence of entire Mandukyopanishad. So before that, I will just recite the first mantra of, I will just give a brief meaning. We will see it in more detail next week. Amatras chaturyo avyavaharyam. Amatra we said. Amatra is the Turiya stage. Chaturyo. That is, it is the Turiya is nothing but fourth. In classical Sanskrit, it is Vedic Sanskrit, it is fourth. But normal Sanskrit, it is called Chaturya, the fourth pada. Amatra chaturyo avyavaharyam. Avyavaharyam, it is not transactable. You will not be explained. You will not be able to give an exposition of what is Turiya. It is to be more experienced. It is to, you can't experience even with the mind. You will have to go beyond the mind. How you can go beyond the mind? When you are reduced to thoughts. And finally, when bring the thought to the nullity of the thought when it comes. It's like a samadhi. When you are getting into this, samjata samadhi, we talked about samadhis earlier. I think that also we'll talk next week. When you get it is a sort of samadhi. When you are into the samadhi, in the sense, nothing matters to you. See, you can be a sort of a Jivan Mukta, because while in this world itself, you can be a Mukta. At that point of time, nothing, because you don't have any attachment, don't have anything, and everyone is equal. Even a person who comes, abuses also will be equal. A man who comes and praises also will be equal. How can they be equal? They can be equal in the sense you will get unaffected, because for you it doesn't matter. Even the praise doesn't matter, insult doesn't matter. And you go and abuse the Lord in front of a statue, doesn't matter to him. He will only laugh. I think that's how the Kannadasan very famously said, "Naan astiganane avan agapadavillai, avan nastiganane avan bayapadavillai." Because either way, because if you become a sort of a devoted person also, it is not easy to apprehend him, grasp him. But if you become, oh no, I don't believe in God, I only be logic, I'm a rationalist, and he's not going to be bothered. But finally, he gives the power to tell that you are a rationalist. Even to declare that you are a rationalist, I don't believe, I believe only in logic, that is also given by him only. That you will realize only that this is what Avyavaharyam says, Prapanchopashama. Prapanchopashama we have seen, we will also see in detail. It is one of the greatest words, two words, Avyavaharyam, Prapanchopashama, Shivo Advaitam. This is also we have seen, Shivam Advaitam. Shivam is our greatest word, blissful. There is not even a speck of any dot in that. It's a beautiful bliss. Advaitam is wrong knowledge. No, you don't have any wrong knowledge. Wrong knowledge of considering me and mine, considering to be, having unfulfilled ambition. Nothing is there. Evam Onkara Atmaiva Samvishatya. Atmaiva Samvishatya. Atmana Atmanam Yayavam Veda Yayam Veda. Atmana 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 Atmanam. This is a very, very famous word. Atmaiva Samvishatya Atmana Atmanam is a word, is the best word in the Upanishadic text. It explains the entire Sanatana Dharma, and we will see it in detail. Ya evam Veda, ya evam Veda. Twice they say, this is the knowledge, this is the knowledge. They are emphatically saying, this is the knowledge. This emphatic, what is this knowledge? What is the greatest statement? Atmaiveva Samvishatya Atmana Atmanam, that we will see next week. With this today, I will just conclude this third kanda, and we are getting into the fourth kanda next week. Formally, I will complete it. Just we will have a 5 minutes meditation, 5 to 10 minutes meditation as usual. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Upunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi. तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विश्विदावहैः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।